Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this week's episode of Gym Owners Podcast. I'm your host, Tyler Stone. Over there's John Fairbanks. How you doing, John?
I'm doing wonderful, Tyler. It's too goddamn hot. I don't know if it's hot where you are, but it's been ungodly hot for the Virginians.
It is hot, and I have been sick indoors. This is day 3, I think, of that. So I've been air conditioned turned down to 68 degrees.
Oh my god,
cold sweats. It's been rough over here. So I haven't even been outside in a day and a half.
The Virginians aren't used to it. Like it was like 100 and something, like heat index, not temperature wise, but like heat index, and that's too hot for the Virginians in July. Like they're used to like maybe a couple of days in August, but everyone's freaking out at this point.
They still call themselves the South. I'll never understand that.
It's wild, right? But I mean, this thing.
Right, let me rephrase that. The term "the South" just means where you were on one side of one war.
The Dixie, the Dixie line.
It's not really a directional. Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, it's more of a it's the spirit of the thing.
It's kind of like how the Minnesota Timberwolves are in the Western Conference in the NBA, and nobody bothers to ask any questions about that.
Yeah, I like that.
All right, guys, let's get into it. Today's topic we want to touch on is really, it's a matter of, I say, respecting your competition. I don't think this is about spying on them or being shitty or whatever. I think it really is, you need to understand that anyone that's in this industry that is doing well, whether we think that is a fad or whether it will come, whether it will go, whether it will go away soon, I do think it is important that you understand what is working for some of these brands right now. What some of the features they have that people likes, whether it's the price points, whether it is the services or whether it's just where it fits into its market. I think that there's a lot to be learned from you actively looking at the other businesses in the gym and fitness industry. I think it's way too valuable. I think I see a lot of people that do like the stuff that we kind of advocate for, which is coached product, service-based, results-driven fitness businesses.
Yeah.
And a lot of people in that position get real fucking hoity-toity about all this other stuff. And that, in my opinion, I think that's the biggest mistake that you can make, is to be like, well, I mean, we're a functional fitness gym. We do this and that. We don't like the amount of shitting on machines that CrossFit did in their early era before they realized like, oh, yeah, that's pretty fucking stupid. We should probably also use some machines sometimes too. It would be nice if we had some machines in our gym from time to time. Maybe the reason that they had to demonize machines in the CrossFit format is because it's really hard to have 10 or 15 of every machine so that you can do group classes that way.
And isn't it a little bit like planting your flag in the ground a little bit?
Yeah.
Where's this idea where you're like, well, no, we are different and we're different. And then we demonize whatever like is popular at the moment. So because like machines were popular or more common, it's like, well, we're not that. That's them and this is us. And you kind of throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Yeah, we're so functional. We just do fucking snatches, deadlifts for time. So you know what I mean? Like, it's like, let's not pretend that every fitness methodology doesn't have some stuff where they, throw in some really stupid shit and mix it in with a lot of really good ideas. Maybe it's because it's fun. Maybe it's because it's just the way they like doing things. There's never really good nor bad, in my opinion, in the industry, as far as like what the clients are doing for the most part. It really is this constantly, what's the word? It's this constantly meandering line, which is us trying to find the balance between what we're actually trying to optimize for. What is the most optimized training? Well, maybe it's the one that people will actually continue to do. And somewhere in there, lies the secret sauce. But so we've been looking into a lot of these other businesses that have been doing really well over the years. And we've talked about some global gym type stuff. And I think that there is obviously, like, Planet Fitness is one juggernaut in the big, huge, essentially warehouse, or what's the word? What would I use the word? Distressed mall property, strip mall properties, department stores. Like that is, I believe, like the Planet Fitness model, that type of layout, that type of size and scale. And there's some other at $10 a month. It's really difficult to fucking compete. if you're a regular global gym, a regular 24-hour access only gym, and you're 50, 60, 70 bucks a month or whatever, Planet Fitness at $10 a month is going to fucking absolutely crush you. If it's in your market, like it's that, because if you're at $50 a month right now, these are just my opinions, frankly, at this point. But I do really believe that you are already competing for the bottom of the barrel price wise. That's such a low value cost. $50 a month is just, it's not that big of a deal financially. It is but the people that it is a big deal for financially might maybe be the people that aren't your ideal customer, because they can't spend a lot of money and they do take up a lot of space. So I think that having a Planet Fitness in your area is, I think it's a good anchor point actually in the inverse. It's not a price anchor on the heavy side. I like it being a good anchor on the light side. And I like that they are at least willing to play the game and run at a loss for a really fucking long time until they build up that base, because it is a juggernaut of a model. The feasibility of every franchisee or whatever you call it is really not the issue. It just isn't, because they can occupy thousands and thousands and thousands of members in your marketplace, in your market.
Well, and I think this is going to be the spirit of like the episode, because we were having this conversation earlier this week, which is like there needs to be a more nuanced approach of like how we're thinking about these juggernauts, and not just throwing the baby out with the bathwater, which is like, well, fuck them. They don't do it. They don't do what we do. We're a higher touch point. We care about our clients. They don't care, right? They're the Netflix of the fitness industry. But at the same time, we've been way more nuanced than initially, where it's like, well, fuck them. We're different. And it's like, well, no. Like I like the idea where, and I want to touch on this. So it feels a little scattered brain, but it's like this idea of understanding your population. And I mean like population counts, because that's what you and I started to really find. And we see warnings and red flags for our boutique gyms, or say maybe you are a franchise owner of one of these boxes, or these larger, and I say box, one of these big warehouse style gyms, right? Big gym with like capital G. And it's, if you are in a spot where like the real big boys aren't, you get, if you're in like in a fitness desert where there's not a lot of other people fitnessing around you, you can get away with being really uninspired. You can get away with really not doing a whole lot, maybe doing sketchy shit, and there's nobody else to go to compete with you. And the problem is as everybody continues to build out and people flee from the city areas and all these rural areas continue to get beefed up, you run the risk of these investors coming in, or people coming in and now popping a spot in your place, and they will crush the fuck out of you because you are charging $50 a month. Because if you're the only game in town, you can charge $50 a month, but then Planet Fitness shows up, they're going to charge 10 to 15, and they will crush you because you are the player that is only grabbing that bottom of the barrel. You've been able to get away with it because you've been the only game in town, or your population's small enough to not attract the sharks.
There is like, kind of like you said, two extremes in this realm, which is, if you are in a if you're going to do uninspired fitness, okay, whatever that's going to be, right? The business is uninspired. It is present. It is there. It's really tough to compete with 20,000, 30,000 square feet, $2-3 million worth of equipment, and $10 a month. Showers that are clean. You know what I mean? It's really difficult to compete with that. So if you're going to do uninspired fitness, you better, I guess, be one of those juggernauts.
Right.
You're going to have to be one of those, and you're going to have to be in a market that can support. We were looking at another model that we'll get into later, but they were looking at like 6,000, right? I think it was around 6,000 members was what they carried on average.
Was the average member count for those
6,000
locations.
And so now, in reality, there's plenty of CrossFit gyms, there's gyms that we worked with directly that make well over that with less than a couple hundred members. So it's like, it just depends on what you're trying to do. But if you're gonna do uninspired fitness, then scale is gonna have to be. You're gonna have to be in a marketplace that you can just really get a lot of fucking bodies, and then you're gonna need to be low price. If you're gonna do inspired fitness, that's gonna work anywhere. And I think that's important to know that that's going to work in any marketplace. I think that market is also going to be like able to support your business, because you don't have to have 6,000 people. You don't have to have all of this space. You don't have to spend $6 million to set up your business, or $3 million to get set up and get started and to have a little bit of runway. Go ahead. But the other side is, then if you're in a market that is, like you say, a fitness desert, This is where mediocrity fucking breeds, man. I live in one of these holes here, and there's not a single speck of inspired fitness professionalism in any entity I've ever seen in my area. Not one. It sucks. But you have businesses that can kind of exist and do well and be around for a long time because mediocrity is the fucking norm, right? You just got to be there. And that's why they end up settling into this middle of the road price shit, because these businesses are, the market is not big enough to support them on $10 a month.
Exactly.
The whole system, the math all breaks down there. But they're not good enough and don't give a fuck enough to actually be successful at the thing they're trying to be successful at, which is coaching, helping people, being a pillar in your. No, these gyms just don't do fuck all, and they just kind of exist, and it kind of works. It just kind of middles forward, and it is what it is, and it's fine. And that's why I've said, I talked about this as a price anchor. I would love for a Planet Fitness, a Crunch Fitness, one of these $10 a month juggernauts. This is unpopular fitness, Tyler. I think there should be one of those in every single goddamn town of more than 50,000 people.
But why?
Because it's going to weed out the fucking bullshit. Because every one of those places is better than these $50 a month spots. You can still hear me, right, John?
Yeah.
Okay. Every single one of those places is better than that $50 a month spot. John, why don't you give me a pause real quick? All right, we're back. A little technical difficulty there. Got a little excited, hitting my table and knocked off the power for my camera. So this is how much I care about this subject, guys. But I do think it's very important I think an ideal situation would be in any mid-level to lower level market, say above 50, 60, 70,000 people in there. I would love for a Planet Fitness, Crunch Fitness, one of these $10 a month places, 20,000 square foot facilities to be in every one of these towns. Because we'll absolutely just root out all of the mediocrity, poor, uninspired business, and it boils all of the shit that all these other gym owners who don't give a fuck, it boils it all down to its essence, which is, oh, we are all competing on price because nobody actually cares. Well, I hate to break it to you. Planet Fitness, Crunch Fitness, they got like a shitload of equipment, really fucking pretty nice facilities. And say what you will about the vibe, that vibe works for a shitload of people. And when I hear gym owners that are like a little too snooty about it, like what all this fucking purple equipment, I've literally heard that out of gym owners. Purple's the problem? So what the fuck does that even mean, dude? It's crazy. But I hear that stuff out of them. It's like, oh, you're just like, they would absolutely fucking bury a lot of these mediocre, frankly, a lot of these franchise gyms that were kind of the big ones 20 years ago are getting destroyed by the even cheaper model. This is a Amazon, Walmart type situation where they're coming in and they're just willing to take losses for a long time, play the long game for the sake of market share.
Well, and think about it, because we've been intimately involved with, say, a franchise model like an Anytime Fitness, right? Smaller, has a smaller footprint overall, right? Anytime Fitnesses are nowhere near the size of Planet Fitness or the size of a Crunch, right? Not even in the ballpark. Sorry. And when you zoom out and you really look at it, it's like, okay, well, Anytime Fitness just does what these big ones do. And that is one of the problems where you're going to see some cannibalism that's going to happen within these franchises, where it's like, if I can do what you can do, but I can do it better, as in the product, I'm certain, like as a client, as somebody that is like going to that gym, I like someone that's bigger so I can get more access to equipment. I'm not fighting for that equipment. And then I have more things to do. It's fancier, it's shinier, all those things. But as you see that, like you said, it just raises the overall fitnessing for the people in the area. And that's what I like the most, where we look at some of those statistics of like 70 to 75% of people in the United States do not have a gym membership. Okay, well, what's more feasible? Your $200 a month membership or a $15 a month membership?
Yeah.
So if you want to get more people fitnessing and being involved, they will go to Planet Fitness. They will go to these juggernauts first, which is awesome. It's awesome. They will a $10, $15 a month person is never coming to you at your functional fitness boutique shit because you're too goddamn expensive.
Yep.
What you
And
really
that's okay.
right, right,
Right?
right, right.
The nice thing is that establishes that difference. And actually, that's probably even easier to explain. When I owned my CrossFit affiliate, I didn't have any trouble with that because like Anytime was right next door. They're 40
Right.
bucks a month or whatever. Well, why would I come here? I was like, oh, well, we don't do what they do. So go there. Like if you
Right.
want 20 bucks a month or whatever, like yeah, definitely do that. Cause you're never gonna pay that here. So like don't sweat that. Just know that what we do is different, and that's fine. But apples to apples is what we need to be discussing here. Now, what is interesting is what say a Crunch Fitness, probably more so than I would say Planet Fitness, just because Planet Fitness has this reputation with their lunk alarms and no cutoff sleeves or
Sure.
whatever else. Even though I think you can still squat there, you still bench there, there's still dumbbells, there's just a shitload of machines, and they don't want you. Listen, I train at lots of global gyms I have over the years, and there's a lot of bullshit with guys literally like slamming dumbbells on the floor, like and literally like weak dumbass guys, like just like slamming dumbbells and yelling and being fucking irritating. And there's a place for that, but it certainly is not that. You know what
Right.
I mean? Like, you ever eat at your house, John, like a real fat buck? Like, do you ever just like pig out like, oh my god,
No
I had
silverware.
two large pizzas or whatever, and you're just like sauce all over your shirt and you're dipping
Your
the
beer.
crust in ranch. Been there, done that.
Yeah,
Still hit
absolutely.
that still hit that a couple times a year. But you
Yeah.
know where you're never going to do that at? Fucking restaurant. You know
Right.
why? Because there's a place to act like a fucking fool. There's plenty of gyms that are going to allow you to crank up your own music and slam bars, and that's fine. Find one.
Mhm.
Just go ahead and find one. But I don't think that like the particulars of what they expect of their members at a Planet Fitness is really going to be a deterrent for anybody who's actually considering going there. That's the best part. For them,
Right.
it's like the guys like me who are going to be who not like me, but listen, if there's a Planet Fitness here, I would definitely have a membership. I want to go fuck with 700 different types of machines. That sounds fun. Seems like a really novel and interesting way to get a fucking huge pump, dude. And at 10 bucks a month, it's disposable. It could be the fourth gym membership I have at
Mhm.
like concurrently. Now, I would say Crunch Fitness, I would put ahead of it as far as like the perception, just because that vibe is not really well known, but I think it's very similar in model, except they've added group fitness classes and some more service based thing that you can service based offerings um, in that model. Now, let's just say a Crunch Fitness is in an area like this with a couple of global gym franchise chains, CrossFit affiliate, and YMCA, and a couple little small gyms, right? Immediately that $10 or $15 a month price point will take away any interest from anyone at these $50, $60 a month global gyms are going to any interest that they're going to get from new people in the next year. They will get literally zero if that one opens up. And that's the problem. These gym owners don't understand this, because then they've gotten so bad at the marketing, they've gotten so bad at the service that they don't fucking care, because they don't have to compete. And the moment one of these comes in, they're beating you with the only thing that you are doing well, I guess, is that you're cheaper than everybody else. Well, guess what? They're a quarter of your price, fifth of your price. You're fucked. And they're
And
better at the thing they're better at everything else that you do. That's the worst part. Their facilities are going to be cleaner, bigger, more fun. Like it's going to be really, really, really difficult for an average global gym franchise owner to make that work with that thing, with a big, huge $10 a month chain right next door.
And as we drilled into like Crunch Fitness, let's use them specifically, we drilled into them more. It's like in the first year, if you come on as a franchise owner, I think they earmark something in the ballpark of like $10,000 to $15,000 per month
A month.
your first year in just marketing. So if
Yeah.
you think about like running ads and marketing for that new spot that just showed up, not only are they going to be shinier or fancier and do all the things and be newer, but they will literally 10,000x your spend, because you're not doing the marketing, because people kind of just show up right now. And I've never
Yep.
really had to worry about it. I haven't even thought about it. So you got to be the cheapest for so long, and you are about to see a Goliath show up and literally just pound your shit into the ground.
Yeah.
And
When I hear gym owners who are like, I don't need to run any paid ads, or they don't do anything. Listen, this is the plague here. They're fucking disinterested on social media, no social media strategy, organic, paid, or otherwise. No general networking or marketing strategy, no plan to get fucking members, offers, none of that. There's no levers that they have installed that they can pull to even try to get some flow coming in any. There's none. And you're going to get someone who's going to show up in your block and start spending $15,000 a month. We're talking billboards, we're talking radio, you're talking television, and you're going to absolutely blast everybody on Facebook, Instagram, and Google for fucking ever. That is a spend that will dominate probably their ideal marketplace. I would get, or their ideal market size is probably in the 100 to 250,000 population, right?
population wise, yeah, and for sure, because we
So,
saw that.
like,
Right?
that will just fucking go so far. It's kind of a nice sweet spot too, because you just become the only one that anybody fucking hears. It's very interesting. So when a gym owner is like super fucking laid back and chill because things are happening, that complacency, you just better hope that the wolves never show up on your block. You know what I mean? Is that the plan?
Yeah,
Like,
you better have like no hospitals built in your general area that then causes more people to move in. Because if people start moving in, you start seeing but if you start seeing a bunch of communities getting built where you live and a Planet Fitness isn't there yet,
it's coming.
just wait, because it is they will show up. But I don't think this is the apocalypse. Like, if this is who you are, like, I don't think this is the end of days for you. I do still think it's a net positive overall.
Do you know where I think that we can, these other boutique gyms, higher price point fitness facilities. One, your service can and absolutely will be better. I will guarantee you that, like, your Crunch Fitnesses and shit like that are not paying coaches well. They're not going to get career people. You're not going to get personal trainers that are going to be aces, that it's just their real passion, because they're going to keep 80% most likely. You know, the gym is going to keep fucking 80% of that of the price for personal training, if not more, right? Like, these coaches may be making $20 an hour or something like that, which is never going to work. It's just never going to work for your business long term. Your clients are always going to have some dipshit coaching them, and that's not going to bode well for you in the long run. But for gyms that do, whether it's functional fitness classes or personal training studios or blended versions of both, even if you're a global gym that has, again, let's just pretend you do what Crunch Fitness does, which is we have some group fitness, we have access, we also do personal training, and we have opportunities for other things like Zumba, HIIT classes, whatever. You can take the things that they are doing, do them better than them, and charge 20 times as much money per month. And all of a sudden, you know who you get? Good clients,
right?
who have money to spend. So then when you're looking for your opportunities to grow or to make more money out of your client base, you could choose. I have 6,000 fucking really broke people that I'm then trying to upsell into a $500, $600, $700 a month worth of personal training. How is your closing rate going to be on that? Probably not that good. You'll get some simply because of the scale, but that's not going to be that good because your market is, you're actively priced to seek the fucking bargain shoppers, broke people.
Correct.
Or if you're the place that's $180 a month and you've got 200 people, and then you're going to solicit all of them for some upgraded personal training opportunities. I guarantee you'll make more money off of personal training out of that 200 population, that 200 group. What word am I using here? 200 person membership base. You'll make more money off of them than you would off the other.
Right. And you said it really, really fast at the beginning of this conversation, but I think it's important to go back to it, which is you got to understand that 6,000 people, 6,000 members at one of these large, big gyms at $15 a month. When you really crunch those numbers, we've worked with lots of different gyms that make more money than that with 200 members. And so
our $1 million a year CrossFit affiliate crushes that and absolutely crushes that model. And by the way, John, here's the one thing we talked about when we were going through this. You know how fucking robust your systems and sales processes need to be to just actively get signed up 6,000 people?
Just like their first month, getting their first month in.
That's full-time fucking sales staff, kind of.
Oh yeah.
Either meetings, appointments, or you're doing it all digitally, which is probably what I would do. But it still is, these people are getting in, they're getting key cards. That is a fucking massive undertaking. I want nothing to do with that.
You realize
because that's not fucking fitness. Nobody gives a shit about that. We do enough of that stuff so that we can worry about the rest of the stuff, which is getting results, making actual money. Because by the way, you're doing all of that for $60,000.
right?
It fucking blows. The only hope you have is that, fortunately for those gyms, they don't ever have to actually worry about seeing most of those people again. So you don't actually have to service those accounts at all. It's just there forever.
But and then the next step in this process of the idea of like this is a rising tide that's benefiting your community overall is if you have a monster that comes in and they're gobbling up the market share at that $10 to $50 a month, you have now just kickstarted. I mean, depending on like my population where I live is like what 25,000 people, 20,000. Let's say it's 20,000 people. Well, if you're going to say you're going to get if there are 5,000 members that are at that gym that are now going to that gym. It's safe to right. That's a huge pool. The entire population that lives here now has gone. You realize that they have just done a thing that would have taken you for fucking ever and would have been so expensive. And they're just built to be able to do it, which is they've just kickstarted a fitness journey for 15% of your entire population that wasn't going to go to your gym anyway, because you were just too far out of reach. It's the literal definition of I'm not in good enough shape yet to go to the gym, right? All of those people, well, they're going to go to the baby, be fat and ugly. We love fat and ugly people here. And that's what they're going to do. And they're going to be able to market to them. Well, guess what? All the fat, ugly people that were scared to go to your shit, they're now going there, which means like we talk about all the time of this, like it's a lifetime fitness journey for everyone on the planet. Great. They just got everybody kickstarted, which means there's going to be a population, a percentage of them that will go so far and they go, I want something more. Now I'm not as intimidated and now I feel more confident or whatever. And now you become more reachable. Just like you said, there's some people where it's like, well, I could actually, it's so inexpensive. I could keep my membership here and I could do personal training over there, or I could do this here, or I could go there. Like it gives people the opportunity to now do more.
And I think you mentioned the lifetime fitness journey as well. While the thing that they are absolutely failing at, these big models, let's touch on this, is client success. That we can all agree, right?
Without a doubt.
That's why that price point is there, right? In reality, if you're paying $10 a month and you're like really think you have a very high likelihood of success, you can, assuming that you as the consumer carry all of the burden of knowledge, motivation, etc. You're going to handle all of that yourself because they're not going to provide any of it. The service is going to be relatively low quality. It is just all on it. At $10 a month, you don't get a lot of time from their staff. Let's not kid ourselves here. So they can do all of this by scale. And the reason truly you're paying for likelihood of success. Speed of success, likelihood of success. And just know that where the consumer is seeing this as a low budget opportunity to go in and maybe I'll give it a try, that is a buying psychology play that you can now take advantage of. Because it really is, those people are going to go there and they're going to spend $10 a month and they're going to go 3 times and they're not going to go for 2 years and they're going to pay that contract for 2 years and they're going to be done. And where does that leave them? Probably nowhere. But if you then have a product that goes, you know what, we got accountability, some nutrition coaching, because nutrition is the deal for weight loss. It is the thing we can't continue to bury our heads in the sand about. We can have one-on-one personal trainer. We have group fitness, which gives you this component of community, accountability, and coaching all in one package. And that now becomes a thing where people will instantly recognize the difference between the $10 product that didn't do anything for them. They require them to know, do, and motivate for everything that they do, motivate themselves for everything that they do. They're going to instantly recognize the difference between that and your product then, because they have already experienced that low end thing. Right. And there's plenty of people who I run around with quite a few like power lifters, strongman guys, stuff like that. Guys that almost never hire a coach. That would never spend more than $60 on a fucking gym membership. And I mean, wouldn't be caught dead in a group fitness class to save their lives. Right. Guys that would openly mock that type of stuff. They'd never be caught dead in one of those places, and yada yada yada. But in reality, those are such a small sect of people, and very rarely do people just get introduced into that segment of fitness.
And
Very
that's where you
rarely.
start.
And not only that, a lot of these guys, by the way, get into powerlifting as a way to work out, but I still get to eat a lot and stay fat and get fatter.
For sure.
And that, in my opinion, is one of the biggest plagues. You're going to see it here. Well, you've seen it. You saw it last year. You'll see it this weekend at the big powerlifting meet. But it's like you get a lot of guys who work out really hard, but they're just all fat and look like shit. Well, I hate to break it to you. Like, those people they're not even seeking fitness, wellness, looking jacked, weight loss, nothing. They're just seeking this little hobby. Well, some people get autistic about building model trains, and the rest of them do powerlifting.
Right.
That's kind of the way this goes.
Now, we've been talking a lot about like pricing, and I think it's important because it's the most obvious that when they come into the community, of the effect that it will have on the community. And it can be the most fearful, because if it's the race to the bottom, how you price. If you price based off of gyms that are running different models than you, I mean, we've shit all over this for literal years. But the next thing that I think is really valuable about looking at these competitors and peeking, kind of go into their websites and check them out, go get a fucking membership, go get a day pass, like go look at their shit like in person, is they are doing, as much as we will shit on them or you want to shit on them, they're doing really, really fucking cool things that you are 100% allowed to say, I hate that, but that's really cool. How can I do that? Can I do that in our version of that? I mean, fuck, Tyler, we were looking at a gym in Arizona that had a goddamn movie theater inside the gym.
Is this EOS?
Yeah, EOS or whatever it was.
Yeah, I have a client. And by the way, I thought this was an expensive gym. Not.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not. It's way cheaper than that. Do I still have it up even? Let me pull this up.
But
yeah, I think it was like quite a bit, pretty affordable here. But anyway, maybe I'm wrong. But I have a client who I personal train who goes down south for the winter. And he was telling me, he goes, they got this thing. They have this entire room that is set up like a movie theater in their big screen, huge surround sound. And they got show times where they'll watch, this a couple movies or whatever per week or whatever, a movie a day. And it'll just run. And you can go in there and there's their cardio machines. Not all the cardio machines. There's plenty of other opportunities to do cardio. But if you want to get in 2 hours of cardio, you can go watch fucking Will Smith take on the aliens in Independence Day. Or whatever, you know what I mean? Which, by the way, if you're ever going to see me go spend 2 hours doing cardio, like, that might be it. Like, that might be really awesome. Take it one step further, and you now make that like new movies.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden you got something I'm willing to pay, and I pay $20 for. Like, that all of a sudden kicks ass. Now, there's a lot of things about that are kind of nuts. I've seen entire gyms that make a lot of money that have less square footage than that single theater room. But so maybe it doesn't fit your real estate equation, but it's fucking cool. It's really cool. And I thought I just think that there's a lot of very novel ideas that work. And then there are some that are so limiting that like poison a brand. One that we've talked about before, Orange Theory.
Yeah.
They're on the struggle bus now. All of a sudden there's this big retraction. They've lost 40 or 50 franchise. They're like net loss 40 or 50 over the last year. And that's not going to get better, by the way. There's no way that gets better. And I'm going to tell you why. The principle we've always pointed at is the lifetime fitness journey, right? They're going to try lots of different things. And so you can occupy a space in that, or you can occupy a singular space in that, or you can provide opportunities to give people lots of room to rattle around in fitness in general. Do you want to be very general or very specialized? It's really up to you. Orange Theory was very specialized, kind of, in what they do. It was a very specific product. They have a good, unique fitness proposition, which is you're going to come in, you're going to do this. You have the heart rate stuff. That's like the vibe. Mm-hmm. But like all things, like I've talked about this before, like you guys know Ryan Reynolds, right? Well, Ryan Reynolds has been funny and a darling for a long time, and I don't think he's ever really stepped out of line, but I'm tired of fucking Ryan Reynolds by now. Even though he's charming and handsome and the things he does, I probably like most of them. I got no desire to see him in any movies or him doing his Ryan Reynolds shtick, because even if you're good, likable, charming, if you're still just kind of the same thing, people get over you pretty fucking quick, especially if we're talking famous people, celebrities. Like, you just can't be a darling for that long. And Orange Theory, I think, was it was a Ryan Reynolds. You're like, oh, this is kind of neat. You know, it's more fun than I thought. Oh, good, cool. And then it just only was that, because there wasn't more. So people got the Orange Theory experience until they were tired of the Orange Theory experience, and then they just moved on. They don't hang on to it as a thing they come back to. And what happens is, I'm going to guess that very rarely do people kind of circle back around into it once they find their way to something else. So they begin to exhaust their markets. I do think that Orange Theory got stretched into, because they're so specific, I think they got stretched into some smaller markets that they did not. I think they need to be in a very population dense place where they can have, again, a shitload of members. But in a class structure, it's tough to do. It's tough to get the bodies in. And so I don't think that in 20 years we're going to talk about Orange Theory as a success story in fitness. I'll tell you that. But they had their time, and a lot of things are going to have a time. They're going to rise, they're going to fall. And I think that's what you're going to see with a lot of these. I don't see the $10 model going away as long as investors are continuing to be willing to front the big fucking money. And for those of you that have a gym that you've bootstrapped and started yourself, you don't have any fucking clue. Like I said, I started my gym with my last $30,000. You know what I mean? That was all it took. It was what it was, and we made it work, and we started selling right away. The idea of needing, what was the Crunch Fitness?
It was something like
between 600,000 and 3 million.
Yeah, it was millions of dollars as far as like net worth that you had to have.
That did not include real estate or any of the actual marketing or any of the actual runway that you needed. That was just to equip the gym.
Right.
So for those of you that are bootstrapping projects, like, you're fucked. You're never going to be able to outspend these people. There's a lot of gyms out there that are 6 months of taking losses away from being closed. A lot of them are a lot less than that. These gyms can come in and run at a net loss for 2 or 3 or 4 years, because most likely the owners are making the real estate play underneath it as well. So they're still getting their rent. It's not actually a net loss for them as a whole. They're getting rent from their own business, paying for that real estate. And then in the end, the business is profitable for a while until it's not. They'll just sell it to somebody else anyways and continue to make the money off of the real estate. It's very likely how that goes. So I just think that you guys are not equipped, not you guys. A lot of gym owners are just not equipped to compete on that level, because these are the type of people and types of organizations that have a lot of levers installed that they can pull to get members, to get hype, to get leads, to get foot traffic in the door, to sell.
Because they're not playing the same game as you. And we've said this before. So it's one of those things where you don't want to go chasing people that are so far off from where you are, and they're never going to try to be what you are. So just try and be who you are, like, to the nth degree. And I think this is where, if we're going to bring it back kind of like full circle to these topics we've talked about for so long, but this is why it's really important for you to like double down on what you do, like what makes you unique, and make sure you're doing enough where you're not inside your cave, right? You don't allow the tism to keep you locked away and away from your community, because if you have the opportunity for these Goliaths to live near you, because they are beginning people's fitness journeys, they've started this for them. This gives you the opportunity. So what all you have to do? You just have to make sure you're throwing lines out into the water, if we're using like a fishing metaphor, but you're throwing lines out by having events, giving people excuses to come see what you are, because then it's like, it's not that. There's never a mistake that you aren't them. And so this is why I like our friend Austin, right, out of California, right? He is so doubled down into like what it is to be nerd and anime and comic book type stuff, where those are the events that they're going to throw. Well, he's not only more expensive, so he's not going to compete in that same market as, say, the Planet Fitnesses of the world. And he doesn't look anything like Planet Fitness, but he also looks nothing like CrossFit either. So now it looks so unique and so different, to where if I have a choice of someone that I'm on my beginning of my fitness journey, kind of feeling more confident, and it's either I can go try a new gym because there's a free 7-day sweat pass, whatever the fuck, to go do barbell shit that already is still too scary, or we're going to go do There's a Quidditch match, which is from Harry Potter, everybody, right? We're going to do a Quidditch match with a bunch of fucking nerds that look like they're having a blast. They still kind of look like me, and they're having a lot of fucking fun, and that's Saturday. So what's more fun? Strongman Saturday, where, oh God, they're like throwing up, or we're running around with fucking broomsticks and still having it. Like there's such,
Oh,
it's so
you and I both have the answer that's not the Quidditch answer, by the way. First off, right? However, are they seeking people like us? And I think that's really important in regards to how you position yourself in your market, which is like, who are you actually seeking? And are you trying to say, do, and offer things to impress people who are never going to do business with you, whether it's online people, whether it's people in your community who, whether it's literally, I've seen people do so just to try to like impress or whatever for like their competition, you know, to basically to be like, we're better than them, like that type of stuff. And none of that is really all that interesting or compelling to a person who's looking for a gym to join, right? None of that stuff is all that convincing. I just think I think the thing that you need to do is do your thing, do it well, but to be so naive as to think that there's not fucking good ideas to be had. If you actually like really, really like look at these things, look at what your competition's doing, look at what other business models are doing, and look at them objectively and look at them for opportunities. But you have to look at them to extract the principles at work. Because you could have your movie theater cardio idea that maybe doesn't take 3,000 square feet of your space and a $10,000 setup in addition to the equipment. You know, all of a sudden you're looking at just a $50,000, $60,000 idea that if nobody likes it, it's just burned. So, but there's plenty of other opportunities like that to be had. And so we got a jet here pretty soon here, John. What else did we have? We had Crunch, we had Planet. We did want to touch on the Orange Theory stuff. By the way, do you think CrossFit is going to go the way of this Orange Theory thing in a long enough timeline?
I don't. And the reason why I don't think CrossFit is because CrossFit has had to evolve naturally over time to do small group, to do personal training. Like if they were going to stay strictly, we're just group classes. This is what we do. We don't do
barbell ripping, pull-ups be kipping.
And then you don't make it. They don't make it. Because then you are just a fad that was popular. People got hurt. People didn't like the cult-ish nature of the thing. And that's where, no, actually, because think about the CrossFit boxes that we've been involved with in those gyms we've worked with, how many of them want to be like, I'm trying to do everything I can to combat the name that's on the front of our spot. We have to do personal training. We have to prove that we're more reachable by soccer moms and those types of people.
I agree with you too. And I also think I agree, especially in that hopefully a lot of these CrossFit affiliates, coaches, owners, people that are doing the programming understand the actual principles that CrossFit was founded on, not the principles that are that they use to like, there's some things that they do in group classes and for programming that are in conflict or just kind of like bastardizations of the actual fundamentals of CrossFit. Constantly varied, functional movement, high intensity. Right. Then you have like some really dumbass movements and some really stupid shit and some like kind of borderline dangerous shit. And most of that is done just to jam those principles into something that you can do in a group class.
Right.
And then still have it be, don't get me started on the Olympic lifting with all that stuff. It's dumb. It's whatever. It's a thing that can be done, but it's just too specialized and stupid. It's not pretend like we're going to try to make that mainstream. But the nice thing, though, that I think CrossFit does have working in its favor is because it is constantly varied. It is a diverse form of fitness. And once CrossFit owners and affiliate owners and coaches stop programming everything to be for time or for reps, which was never the case, by the way, that is only a thing to make it be competitive. The moment people can actually go like, oh, because in real fucking programming that fits that, you're going to come in and you're going to do 5x5 on your back squat after your warm up. And that's going to be today's workout. And then 2 days from now, you're going to go, we're going to warm up, you know, get a little loose, and we're going to run a 5K. And then the next day, maybe you're going to do a Metcon that's, you know, 12 minutes, really sizzly shit. You know what I mean? And then the next one might be some heavy this or that. That is like can look like actual training. But if everything is 3-2-1 techno music, I hate to break it to you, but you're gonna go the route of fucking Orange Theory, because that kind of sucks. That's the stuff that people can kind of get hooked on, but it doesn't really work. So again, it's all about, what are we optimizing for? Are you optimizing just for the fact that it's a group class? Are you optimizing for the intention that other people have when they come in, or their initial impression? So you're just going to give them that, even though that's not what you do. Well, that sucks. But I do think that CrossFit will be resilient enough as a training methodology. The brand as a whole, like the actual business structure, I got my doubts about, but I don't believe that CrossFit will go away, even if CrossFit HQ melts down completely. CrossFit as a company goes away. I don't believe that that type of training will go away. So yeah, I guess that's our take on that I haven't thought too much about, I guess. But
no, but and again, to button it all up is, if you're a gym owner, do not get stuck in your own spot. Look at what other people are doing. Go to the biggest, shiniest, fanciest gyms that are out there and look at them, even if it's just online. What are the things that they're doing? What are the perks? What are the things? It doesn't mean that you're going to be able to put in bidets in every single one of your toilets and whatever the stuff is. But like, what are, like you said, the principles that you can extract, where it's like, we could do our own version of this, or it's not a staple in the gym, but we can make this an event, or we can make this something. We can do something that allows us to be seen as different, because most of you that are listening, your desire to be great is there. But if you live in a world that is uninspired, where frankly, Tyler, where you and I both live, it's not the same place, but it's equally uninspired. If you have nothing but uninspirational motherfuckers that are around you, it sucks you dry of creativity and desire to want to do something cool or different or unique.
Yeah, because mediocrity can still pay, and it's a lot fucking easier. But
yes,
that ain't the gym owners revolution we're talking about. If you're better than that, follow us on all the things. The Gym Owners Revolution Facebook group. That link is going to be in our show notes here. You want in on the Gear Academy, that should be in there too, or go to gymownersrevolution.com. You want to work with us directly, you can either shoot us a message or just go to gymownersrevolution.com. So thanks a lot for listening, everybody. Follow the show at the Gym Owners Podcast on Instagram. Follow me at Tyler F. and Stone. That's Tyler EFF I Stone. And John?
And you can follow me on Instagram at jbanksfl.
All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll see you next week.